Hey folks, we're back. That's right, a second season of the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show after every green and white game. Join me along with my co-host, Kyrie Zaber, the former NFLer and CFLer, and accomplished high school football coach Ryan Hall, as we break down each week's game for you. And new this year, we will welcome your telephone calls. So yeah, like a regular call-in show, call in, we'll chop it up with you. Can't wait to have another fun season. It's the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. Right, folks, welcome to another Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. This is the smokiest edition. We'll call it the smokin' postgame show. Michael Ball here. Because of what happened yesterday at Mosaic Stadium, I'm flying solo today. So you're welcome to call in and talk. Lots of room for you to be a co-host with me. 306-992-6955, the number to call. We'll talk about the Riders' first loss of the season, 24-10 to the Calgary Stampeders. The Rough Riders, remarkably, have not beat the Calgary Stampeders in a regular season game since August of 2018. It's like I forget how many days it is. It's ridiculous. It's like, what is that, 6 years? It's a ridiculous amount of days that it's been since they haven't beat them. But yeah, August of 2018 in a regular season game. They did win in overtime, remember, in 2021 in a semifinal, then went on to lose the West Final to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So the Riders lose today 24-10 to the Calgary Stampeders. Now, of course, I have a vested interest in Winnipeg Blue Bombers football now. And so when I watched that Calgary-Winnipeg game, I'm like, well, the Stamps are a better team, but, Winnipeg's had a clunker every year, and so, I wouldn't read too much into it either way. But then Calgary comes here, and they absolutely beat the brakes off the Saskatchewan Roughriders today. They dominated as the wrestlers used to say in Stampede Wrestling. Speaking of Stampeders, I'll beat you pillar to post. And that's exactly what they did. The Stampeders from the get-go smoked the Riders. Now, I'm not going to be overly critical, and you're like, oh, I'm shocked you're not going to be overly critical. But no, I'm not going to be overly critical of the of either team. It was extenuating circumstances having 19 hours from when your game was supposed to kick off to when it did kick off because of the inclement weather, i.e., a.k.a. the smoke from yesterday. So both teams were a little messed up. They both looked dopey at the start of the game. The Rough Riders, though, just could never get on track, and Calgary imposed its will on the offensive and defensive lines, and that's where Calgary is so much better than they were the last couple of seasons under Dave Dickinson. Why did he let Sean McEwen go? And nothing against the Riders lineman who was hurt in training camp, but he was a multiple all-star with the Stampeders. He gets jettisoned. He comes to Saskatchewan. You're like, well, what's happening there? How are they going to hold up? That's a very good offensive line. Vernon Adams had all day to pass to the tune of 428 yards passing. The sixth time in his career that VA has thrown for over 400 yards. And then on the defensive line, the Riders couldn't get anything going against that Calgary D-line. The run game was almost non-existent. Now, some of it had to do with Calgary's spectacular D-line play. Some of it had to do with some interesting play calling, in my opinion, from Mark Mueller. Now, Mark's a smart coach. I think he'll be a head coach given the opportunity in this league one day. But I don't know why you dress two American running backs, because Thomas Bertrand Hudon is out, and you have Kadeem Carey there, and you also have A.J. Ouellette there. And just give me a second here, folks. I'm flying solo. Well, I'm not exactly flying solo. My buddy Leander, behind the scenes here at Gerhardt Studios, let me tell you about this guy. He was in yesterday, had to tear down a photo shoot, a set, had to put up our set, get it all ready. Was waiting here. I had to call him last night, say, just go home. Like, don't worry about it. I don't know what's going to happen. In fact, I don't think there'll be a game. And then he's in here, and he's getting everything going. So I'm not flying solo that way. I am flying solo as it relates to information and everything like that. So just bear with me here. I love to hear myself talk, so it won't be hard for me to talk a lot. But for the Riders' run game, this is interesting. A.J. Ouellette, 6 carries. Tommy Stevens, 2 carries. And Kadeem Carey, the 1,000-yard rusher, 1 carry. So let's do the math there. That's 9 carries, and 2 of them were short yardage carries. So if you dress 2 running backs, 2 American running backs, and don't run the ball, I'm not sure what we're talking about here. But Calgary's D-line was formidable. So obviously I'm not in the coaching box there, and I don't get to see the whole game when I'm watching it on TV. We got a caller already out of the chute. Okay, let's go to Brad. Brad's on the phone. We're just going to have to wait here for it to connect here. Once again, you can call us so we can talk some football. Brad, are you there? Oh, we there? Do we got him? Let's hear. Brad, are you there, Brad? Just hold on, Brad. We're trying to figure this out.
Can you hear me, Michael?
Yeah, I got you, Brad. Go ahead, man. What's up?
We didn't play Rider ball today. It's after the second quarter, I would have took A.J. Ouellette out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're dressed 2 running backs, and they focused on A.J. Yeah, I know we don't have our starting lineup. We don't have Sean Bain Jr., we don't have Samuel Embuth and
Kean Schaefer-Baker.
No, Embuth, Bain, and Embuth. And Baker, yeah.
Kean Schaefer-Baker, yeah.
But I'm not trying to make excuses, but from the last game we played, we didn't play Rider ball today.
Yeah, it was definitely wasn't characteristic of what we're used to. They're averaging like 139 yards a game on the ground, Brad, and today they had 15 yards rushing. 15. So talk about that. Calgary did such a great job on that D-line. That Jalen Hutchings was eating up the interior of that D-line. Miles Brown, the former Rider, stout on the interior. So you have to give Calgary credit, but the Riders got away from the running game. You don't want your 39-year-old quarterback putting the football up as much as he was. I think Trevor Harris threw the ball. Now listen, they're down, Brad, but Trevor Harris threw the ball 44 times. I don't want the grandpa Trevor Harris throwing the ball 44 times in a game. That's not a recipe for a victory for the Rough Riders.
Well, thing is, he has to get the ball out, but I think we need a better job. And I think we could have did a better job if we had our starting receivers.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But let me ask you this, Brad. Take your green and white goggles off for a second. You've watched the Calgary Stampeders now live. That's right now as we sit in week 6. Now there's 2 more games going on here right now. I think Ottawa and Hamilton playing. Tomorrow it's BC and Edmonton. But that's the best football team in the CFL right now, the Calgary Stampeders. And I would have never said that. I don't think many people would have said that. That is a good football team right now in Calgary.
Oh, they're great. But today we didn't play Rider ball the way compared to our last game that we played.
No, that's for sure. Hey, Brad, thanks for the call, man. We got to be rolling. We do appreciate it, though. Thank you, and tell all your friends the call-in show is back where you can call in and talk unfiltered, whatever you want to do. And I'm flying solo today, so it's...
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Our balls are bigger, baby.
You got it. Our balls are bigger. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yes, our balls are bigger. And speaking of big balls, let's give the Calgary Stampeders some due here, okay? I won't touch on this till maybe a little later, what happened yesterday. But the Calgary Stampeders had to go. They check out of their hotel rooms because the Hillbilly Fest is in Craven. All the hotel rooms are booked up, okay, because of the Craven Country, whatever they call it, Country Thunder, the Hillbilly Fest, mixed in a little Def Leppard too. So we've got all the hotel rooms booked. 30 members of the Stamps got to check back into the Hotel Sask, which houses all the visiting CFL teams that come into town. The rest had to go to the dorms to live like college students, 4 to a dorm room. If that's how the Stampeders are going to play, I suspect whatever city they're in next, like they're in Winnipeg next week, maybe they'll ask the University of Manitoba if they can use the dorms there. Because they played unbelievable. Football's about adversity. They didn't whine. They didn't mope. They just showed up and did their business and kicked the shit out of the Rough Riders today, 24-10. So they showed they had some big balls. Good on the Calgary Stampeders and Dave Dickinson. All's not lost in Riderland. You're not going to go 18-0. But the Riders were in their own beds, and they played sleepy. Before we go to break here, can the Riders win a Grey Cup with 39-year-old Trevor Harris, is what Robert Campbell says. Well, he hasn't won a Grey Cup as a starting quarterback. He has in a support role as a backup quarterback. Can they do it with a guy that can run an offense in an elite fashion? Yes, they can. Because he is an elite mind on the field, okay? Although he looked confused, you got to give Baron Miles, Bob Slowick, and their defensive staff some credit. They had Trevor seeing things or not seeing things correctly, and they messed him up a few times, which is pretty interesting because you think had seen it all. But anyway, Robert, can the Riders win? Mind-wise, I believe so. He's an accurate passer short, but I would continue to make him try to throw the ball deep. Yes, he completed some deep passes. I'm not saying he can't, but consistently, I don't know if he has the arm to continue to throw it deep. And he certainly can't run. And gone are the days of the statuesque quarterback like Trevor Harris. You need Chad Kelly. You need Nathan Rourke. You need Vernon Adams. You need Trey Ford to learn how to be a better quarterback. He's already got the athlete part down. You need, Bo Levi-Mitchell's getting it done, but those days of Bo Levi-Mitchell and Trevor Harris, they're starting to wane. Bo's on fire because he's got some great weapons around him. O-line's holding up well, and he's got that 50-50 receiver in Kenny Lawler now. So I think gone are the days of the statuesque quarterback. If Trevor Harris is going to win the Grey Cup, this has to be it, because I don't see him playing next year in the league, regardless of what he thinks. And if he's happy with me saying that, I like Trevor Harris as a person. He's not so keen on me anymore, just kind of how I'm laying it out there, but that's why it's Ballsy Uncut. I'm telling you, they can win with his mind. I don't know if the body can hold up, and he certainly can't run. And if you can't run and avoid defenders, then you're in trouble. You got to at least be able to extend plays with your legs, and Harris, he's past that. He can't do that. Not that he ever could, but he can't do that anymore. Can't see it happening. Thanks for the chat. Keep the chats coming. Keep the calls coming. 306-992-6955. Okay, we're going to take a break and be back with our first feature in a moment here on Our Balls Are Bigger. The Italian Star Deli, providing Regina and area with quality specialty products since 1966. When you visit the Italian Star Deli, you're truly part of the family. So drop by any time and they'll help you find whatever your heart and palate may desire. Whether you're looking for olive oil, specialty meats and cheeses, pasta, sea salt, vinegar, canned tomatoes, or one of their mouth-watering famous sandwiches. You're sure to find it and so much more at the Italian Star Deli, 1631 Victoria Avenue, Regina. And thanks to our great sponsor, Italian Star Deli, Carlo Giambattista. However you're consuming this podcast, listening or watching or doing it live or doing it later on X, Facebook, and YouTube, I do appreciate it. The best way is to subscribe at Ballsy Uncut on YouTube. Then you'll never miss an episode either of this show or the Ballsy Uncut 3 times a week podcast. And coming up in our next episode, John Ryan, Kicking It with John Ryan, brought to you by our friends at Advantage Collision in Saskatoon and Prince Albert. Thanks to Brad for a call. We will continue to take your calls, 306 992-6955. Take out of the game. Usually it's a defensive play. I'm going to give an honorable mention here. And the honorable mention is going to be to Shane Ray, who had his best game as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider. He was active. He was in the quarterback's face. He had a batted ball and kind of a gimme sack, but he had a great hit from behind on one of Calgary's. So the first drive was an interception, a bad pass by VA, picked off by A.J. Allen, who's emerging as a great linebacker after a handful of years as a special teamer out of Guelph University. Love A.J. Allen, good dude. And then it was a nice drive. They set up a little slip screen to the right to Dedrick Mills. He's got blockers in front. Looks like he's got a head of steam, and from behind, not giving up. Coaches always talk about having that motor. And Ray, with a shoulder check, hits him in the back. The ball pops out, and it's recovered by the Riders. I think the Stamps had 3 turnovers. The Riders 4, if I'm not mistaken. 7 turnovers in a game is usually sloppy. No doubt about it, but I expected a sloppy game after what's gone on over the last 24 hours with regards to the Riders, the Stamps, and the Smoke. But my takeout of the game was A.J. Ouellette. Pass out into so going right to left on the TV screen, or if you're sitting behind the Riders bench or in the broadcast booth as I used to be, I'd call it going right to left, swing it out in the right flats. A.J. Ouellette's got it. Look out, here comes the undersized Adrian Green, who is formerly of the BC Lions, comes up and absolutely hammers A.J. Ouellette. Problem is, Green is smaller than A.J., doesn't wrap up, and doesn't take him low because he would probably be flagged there for hit on a defenseless receiver, because it's different if AJ catches the ball, establishes, turns upfield, and then gets hit in the legs. This time he's catching it over here, and as he turns, he gets popped by Green, bounces off, and gets near a first down. So A.J. Ouellette, who's been great this year, didn't have many rushing yards, got some catches out of the backfield. I love how he interacts with the fans, so good on him. And that is our takeout of the game for the Italian Star Deli. Let's talk about, on the other side of things, for the Calgary Stampeders, Dedrick Mills. This guy's a stud. He was the number 2 rusher coming into this game in the CFL, behind A.J. Ouellette. And Dedrick Mills had a workhorse, workman-like effort, not only running but catching the ball, and he also hung in there on some blitz packages the Riders came with when they did come with some heat. He had 14 carries for 85 yards, and he had 3 catches for 3 catches for 9 yards. So, great game from Dedrick Mills, and they've got a great-looking offense there in Calgary. I recently did a top 10 most exciting CFL players, and people got it confused with best players. Nothing to do with the best players, had nothing to do with my favorite players. It had to do with the exciting players in the league. And I'm gonna try to snag it here if I can. Just give me 1 second, folks. Bear with me. I'm gonna find this here because I want to get this right. Hold your horses. Yeah, live podcasting when you're by yourself. Anyway, I had, off the top of my head, I had Trey Ford, number 1, Janarian Grant, number 2. Anyway, going down the list. Oh, Kenny Lawler was number 3. VA was about I think I had VA about number 6. I didn't have a Philpott boy in there, either Jalen or Tyson, but people were saying, what about the Philpotts? In fact, Randy Chevrier, who joined me on the podcast, the all-time GOAT long snapper, in my opinion, he said, what about one of the Philpott boys? And that's one I can buy. And this kid made some great catches in the game, picking up the slack when Clark Barnes was out. So he's a great Canadian receiver. Clark Barnes from Guelph, a great Canadian receiver. How about that Damian Alford from Syracuse? First overall pick in the CFL draft, 6'6" receiver, couple of great touchdown grabs, ran right by Antoine Brooks Jr. for a touchdown, had the great, I'll say leaping catch, but it was. He went up at 6'6", climbs the ladder, brings it down as Exume kind of got caught in where Zume got caught in no man's land. He had to kind of squeeze down on the seam, but then he had a belly back towards the sidelines and couldn't quite get to the ball as Alfred uses his reach and goes up and gets that one. So Calgary's got some really nice receivers there. And, a very talented receiving core. It's funny when you talk about Philpott and you talk about this guy and you don't mention Dominique Rhymes and Beggleton's hurt. Can you imagine if Beggleton comes back and when he comes back too, he being Clark Barnes? Calgary on fire as Vernon Adams, 428 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kellen says this weekend was an absolute disaster. It was. It was a disaster. It was a disaster, but if we're talking about the Rider performance, you have clunker games. It's a long season. It's got to be frustrating that they have a tough time with Calgary here. Believe me, I was on this side of the mic calling games, watching Calgary beat the Riders, won in walk-off fashion, when the Riders could have ended Calgary's season and secured a playoff spot. So it's been very tough here on home turf. The Riders just laid an egg, coming off a bye. But I will tell you this, it's very tough to get up for games. I'm not making excuses for the Riders. Both teams went through it. Calgary handled the adversity much better. You got to give them credit. Was it coaching? Was it just leadership? I'm not sure, but they're on the road. They're in a dorm. They handled adversity much better than the Saskatchewan Roughriders did here in this game. But it's very hard to get up for a game. You ask any pro, rain delay, whatever, and this a game's never been canceled before like this, and to come back the next day on short rest. You go back, you have your challenges at home. Maybe you can't settle down. The family's there, all that type of stuff. So the Riders did have some challenges too, not just Calgary, but Calgary handled it much better than Saskatchewan. In terms of how everything went down, let's address that right here. So, number one, kudos to the Rough Rider fans, to the Roberts, the Kellens, the Brads, the Roberts, the Steves, whoever's sending us messages and wherever you're taking in this podcast. Kudos to the Rider fans. Listen, I'll still stick by this. This is Canada's team. Canada's team in the sense that they're with this team through thick and thin, through ups and downs. It's the only real professional team in the province. I do not think Rider Nation will ever abandon this team and let this team die. But popularity has waned. People are tired of 6-12, 6-12. Last season was decent. They had an 8-game stretch where they went, they were shooting blanks, 0-7-1, but somehow finished in second place, but lost in the West Final again. This fan base wants to be back in the Grey Cup, deserves to be back in the Grey Cup. I said anything short of a Grey Cup appearance is a failed season. Anybody will say that, but especially here where they spend their money. But I have talked openly about Rider Nation is kind of waning in maybe their passion. They're not going to the games as much. They'd rather stay home, big screen TV, cheaper beer, everything like that. The game day experience has got kind of stale and boring. They think their beverages and food overpriced, so they stay home. Well, last night they showed some true character and grit. By the end of the day, when they finally called the game, there was probably about 12,000 in attendance, I'm told. I wasn't there, but about 12 to 13,000 in attendance. But they hung in till the end. Drank beer, stayed in the smoke, watched the cheerleaders, did everything they had to do to stay invested in it till it was finally canceled. So Rider Nation proved to everybody that it's still a very strong fan base. So good on you, Rider Nation. I'm proud of you. Not that matters to anybody, but I am proud of Rider Nation. A lot of my friends, big Rider supporters. I have lots of friends on the team and friends that like the Riders and are big Rider supporters. I wish no ill to the Riders unless they're playing the Bombers. It's just a matter of fact for obvious reasons. But the way it was handled was ridiculous. I don't care what anybody says. 2 hours north. It cleared up fast. I'll say this like I said earlier on my social media. I am not a rocket scientist. In fact, in this room of two, but me and Leander sitting just out of camera shot here, I'm the second smartest person in this room right now. But I'm walking the car lot at Crestview Chrysler, 601 Albert Street, 306-526-7979 if you need a car. Anyway, pre-owned or new. We got lots of great deals. So I'm walking the car lot. It's raining in the morning with smoke. What does rain do? Rain without wind, when it kind of gets warm, makes the air dense and thick. And it's a rare day where there's no wind and lots of smoke, and it's not going anywhere. And it's 3 o'clock and it's not going anywhere. And it's 4 o'clock and it's not going anywhere. And it's 5 o'clock and it's not going anywhere. And it's 6 o'clock when I leave to go home and watch the game, and it's not going anywhere. And it's not going anywhere at 7, and it's not going anywhere at 8. Cancel the damn game. Cancel the damn game. Now, and move on to the next day. Somebody has to have some balls. I don't know who makes the ultimate decision. I'm thinking it's the league. They've got to answer to their TV partner. The Riders probably have some say in it because it's their home game. But somebody needs to have a spine and say, that's it. We're done. Like when they were talking about 10:45 for warm-ups and an 11:15 p.m. kickoff. Let me ask you a question. When is the last time you've ever watched an 11:15 local time football game at any level? At any level. I'm not talking adult safe, hockey, beer league, men's basketball with guys with big bellies who still think they're Kobe Bryant. I'm talking about a tackle football game from Pee-wee all the way up. When's the last time you watched an 11:15 football game? Oh, wait. Oh, that's never happened before. Right. Well, Ballsy, it's never happened like this before where we've had smoke. True. Touché. But football players are creatures of habit. They're routine. They get to a stadium. They get in a mental capacity because they're ramming heads with 300-pound guys. Quarterback standing in there with a building with feet coming at him, smoking them. You saw Trevor Harris get whacked a couple of times in this game. So picture this. I got 39-year-old Trevor Harris, who, by the way, I got all the respect in the world for. Dude is 39. Jamarcus Hardrick's 35. Stanley Bryant's 39. Zach Collaros is 37. I went jogging the other day for the first time in 10 years as a 52-year-old man, 2 kilometers. I did it in under 15 minutes with the help of my kids. My son is a professional football player, and my daughter is at Sessions, the trampoline fitness place in Regina. She goes about, on average, 2, maybe 3 times a day. So I'm going around with them, and my legs just stopped aching. This is the 3rd day. So to do what those guys are doing on a professional football field, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, unbelievable, okay? But I lost where I'm going with this now. I'm talking so much, I lost where I'm going with my train of thought. But you got Trevor Harris in the locker room. He's 39. You got 33-year-old Vernon Adams. You see the camera shot? He's in there. He's had so many injuries. He's stretching out with the bands around his knees, trying to keep warm in the locker room. 35-year-old Jamarcus Hardrick. You're going to have them sit at 4 o'clock and have them go out at 10:45 to play a game when before we were concerned about their breathing? But now we're going to throw them out there at 11:15? My point is, call the game at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I can buy a 9 o'clock kickoff because guess what? Riders have played 9 o'clock kickoffs in Vancouver when the time changes. I can buy 9 o'clock. I ain't buying 11 o'clock. So after 9 o'clock, pull the chute, rip off the Band-Aid. Calgary can go find some place to lay their head, and they can get like an extra 2 hours of sleep or stretching or get back hydration. Riders, too, get home, talk to the family because they were probably at the game. The kids maybe were at the game. The significant others were at the game. You're not going to go home and go to sleep right away. You're wound up. Maybe you're watching extra film. So get them home earlier. Somebody make a decision. That's where the cluster, came into the play here, as far as I'm concerned. hopefully they can look at this moving forward. Kudos to the Riders for stepping up and giving some sort of discounts or refunds, vouchers at the stadium. So I'll tip my helmet to the Rough Riders, although I would have loved somebody from the team during and not a public address announcer, mumble a few words. I'd like maybe on the big multi-million-dollar Jumbotron they got there that's the size of an NBA basketball court, maybe Craig Reynolds can go on there and say, hey, fans, I realize this is a difficult situation, but as you know, only 2 of the teams make money in this league. We're one of them, so we're doing everything we can to make this game go. But unfortunately, we can't. So we have to rip the Band-Aid off. We will be in contact with you to give you updates on refunds and everything like that. But for now, we're going to have to shut it down. But people were sitting in the stadium. They didn't know what was going on. It was all over Twitter. My phone's blowing up. That's what we need. We need leadership in the stadium. We need leadership at the top level to get us over the hump here. So you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. It was an absolute disaster. And what pisses me off about it is I defend this league. I love this league. I love it. But then you get what it does is it brings the Bush League. This is such a Bush League. It's a joke. I got the line from my buddy Tim Lipp, but it was the Comedy Football League last night. I'm not saying that because I think it's a joke of a league, because guess what? The power went off in the Super Bowl for 45 minutes and probably cost the 49ers and Jim Harbaugh the Super Bowl. His brother's team, Baltimore, came back in, I think it was Super Bowl 44. So definitely the Fail Mary with the replacement refs, Green Bay and Seattle on a Monday night game. The coin toss in overtime, Thanksgiving, where the NFL ref gets the coin toss wrong when Jerome Bettis calls heads, and it was heads, but he thought he called tails, and so Detroit gets the ball, goes in and scores. There's lots of mistakes in the NFL. Nobody calls the NFL Bush League. But the problem is people think the CFL is already Bush League, or these I call them complainer Daves that'll complain all the time for no good reason, and then it just becomes a snowball, kind of like when Luke Wilson does it. Luke Wilson is a smart football guy. I just wish he'd lay off cutting the game down. It seems like he has a little bit now. That's where I was pissed off. But the Riders have come forward and done a great job. Hopefully the CFL going forward has a better plan, because before it was a 3-hour delay and then that's it. The game is done. Then after the game, Craig Reynolds is like, well, no, it's if you warmed up, then it's 3 hours. Oh, bullshit. Why are we just making stuff up? Don't make stuff up. This is what we're ripping the Band-Aid off. Everybody go home at 8:30. Come back. We hope you can come back. If not, we'll work out refunds and whatever they came to do today. I also want to thank all the volunteers, Ram 50/50 people that came to volunteer. That's a lifeblood for that university football team. By the way, Jackson Sombach on a special teams tackle for Calgary, former Miller Marauder and Regina Ram. Deshaun Mims got a catch on a key third down catch. It looked like it would keep the Riders' drive alive, but they ended up giving up a sack and then turning over on downs for the second or third time in the game. Anyway, a couple of Regina Rams stepping forward in this football game. Mitch Picton played, had a couple of catches, had a fumble, unfortunately. But, 50/50 ticket takers, the concessions people that maybe operated the bus, security, all those people that came back and did their job, I wouldn't say for free, but, maybe orchestrated their plans differently to come and do this for the fine fans to pull off a game. So kudos to them. But yeah, it wasn't spectacular, that's for sure. All right, we're going to take another break for a sponsor break and be back with another feature here on the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. Payson Insurance specializes in helping hard-to-insure people get coverage. They also offer a range of financial management and investment services to help secure your future. People care most about their money and their family. I personally trust Kevin. Best way to describe dealing with him are the 3 C's. He's comfortable to deal with, he cares about your future, and he's confident in helping you make the right financial decisions. Payson Insurance. Give them a call, 306-596-0244. And this is the On the Money segment for Kevin Payson, who coached at Miller, actually, high-level coach for a number of years in high school, and also a former Ram and Western Mustang. He handles my money and my insurance. I encourage you to go check him out. Great guy. Okay, On the Money, couple of passes. I'm going to split it here on both sides. On the Money, Vernon Adams Jr. to Damian Alford. Couple of great touchdown passes there. One was a deep ball where he just blew by Brooks. It would look like a blown coverage. And it was blown because Antoine Brooks Jr., who was in for the injured Tavon Campbell, and Alford would have never ran by Tavon Campbell, by the way. But he got caught looking in the backfield. His eyes got caught on the quarterback, lost where the receiver was. Alford gets behind. No chance there. And that 6'6" strider, Alford, I mean, probably every stride of his was 3 strides of Antoine Brooks Jr. So that's On the Money part 1. On the Money part 2 is Trevor Harris to Joe Robustelli, number 82. He spent all last year on the practice, a late bloomer in football, picked up the game late, was in training camp last year, got in at the end of the year in a game against Calgary. And this guy today had his coming out party for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He had, and I'm just going to get you the stats here quickly. He had, where is it? Well, where's the receiving? There it is. Joe Robustelli targeted 12 times, caught 11 passes for 191 yards, 1 touchdown. So Joe Robustelli, absolute stud for the Roughriders. Trevor Harris hit him for his first ever CFL touchdown. Hit him deep again. He got behind coverage. Richardson, the D-back, had a bad day on the corner for the Stampeders. Robustelli going deep, makes the catch. Had to come back for the ball a little bit. Would have loved to have seen Trevor lead him a little bit more on that play. But Robustelli definitely is coming into his own, and that's exactly what Ty said. Positive note with the rider. Robustelli is really emerging into something. Yeah, he Trevor Harris calls him Jelly because he reminds him of Greg Ellingson, his former teammate in Edmonton, the former Ottawa and Hamilton receiver as well. And he kind of reminds me of Getzlaff in a way. Just the way he can contort his body, make some great plays, kind of sneakily gets behind coverage because I don't think he's a huge burner. But Robustelli with a nice catch for the touchdown. So that's my 2 on the money things. 2 touchdown passes, Vernon Adams to Damian Alford. And then on the other side of things, you had Robustelli with the catches. Just got a text here. I'll see if it's from my buddy Ryan. I just want to see what he has to say. Yeah, good point. The Rider fan, now I know why they did it, Ryan Robinson. How hot was the team in those black jerseys? Great looking plan for a Friday night. Crappy for a summer afternoon. I wonder how much that caused the line to play like trash. Yeah, wearing all black, not black. It was obsidian green, but it has that black kind of dark color to it. The sun attracts the darker colors, so they were sweating like a fat kid in a Smartie factory. Sorry if I'm offending fat kids, but yes. Or me, a diabetic who loves sweets in a bakery, okay? I'll have this, I'll have that. There, I'll take the complaints. Come on, it's a soft world. Sweat like a fat kid in a Smartie factory. That's right. I don't dislike the jerseys. Hey, a lot of people like them. That's why the Riders turned a profit. And Mark Habick, who is in charge of the jerseys and all the stuff over at the store, really the memorabilia director, really like Mark. He does a great job. Not a big fan of the patch on the knee, but and the helmet kind of reminds me of the U of S. Maybe they were going with that. It looks nice when you see it on the rack. It looks nice when it's on a fan. A couple of the salespeople at the car dealership had them on. As a broadcaster or trying to watch it as a fan, it's tough. If you don't really know the team or know all the guys, is that 23 or 33? Is that 88 or 89? It's tough. Calgary's, I love their whites. Easy to pick out for a broadcaster or fan. I like the white on white with the red helmet. That was a classic look from the Stampeders too. So yeah, I don't know, Ryan, if that had much to do with it. I know one thing. Calgary, though, let's be honest. Let's talk about this. Calgary had the disadvantage in terms of weather. The Riders got a break on the sidelines. It's shady on the sidelines. So when they're off, those big guys come off on the sidelines, they get a bit of a break. Over there, you're cooking. Any fans on that side? On the east side, any fans over there, they are absolutely sweltering, and same with the team. So that's why I've always told the Rams. I told the Rams, you play a lot of your games at night or in the afternoon in the fall. So why don't you put your bench over on that side, so when recruits are watching the game on TV, the fans sit behind your bench. That's where you have the mentor. You're warmer, more fans, looks better, helps with recruiting. And it's warmer for you. Otherwise, their games are at night. So I can kind of buy what you're saying, Ryan, but I don't really buy what you're saying because Calgary was in the heat too. It was just a bad game for the Rough Riders and a great game for the Calgary Stampeders. Okay, let's take another break if we can, Leander, and be back with more. This is the Our Balls Are Bigger post-game show. Ward Tire Craft Regina, proud to be the last of the small town style tire and automotive shops in the city, prioritizing the happiness of their customers and the safety of their vehicles. They've had some of the same customers for over 40 years, including yours truly, which is why I asked them to come on board as a sponsor for my shows. For all your tire and mechanical needs, go see Michael Barth and his crew at 101 Dudney Avenue. Tell them Ballsy sent you, and you get 10% off. Keelan White, the receiver out of Montana, pick of the Ottawa Redblacks, has his touchdown. I think it's his first career touchdown for the Redblacks. They're leading Hamilton early in Steeltown 7-0. That's a big game for the Ottawa Redblacks. Hamilton coming off that 51-38 drubbing. They smoked the Toronto Argonauts and on a bit of a roll. I got this from Rob. Rob says, Michael, should the Riders continue to dress Kadeem Carey? Well, Thomas Bertrand-Houdon's on the 6th game, so it depends how they want to juggle their roster in terms of the receiving core. Suppose as Sean Bain Jr. comes back, maybe you put him as a speedster into the lineup. He was starting to practice with the team, and yet maybe take out an American running back. With Houdon on the 6th game, I probably would keep Carey in if you're going to continue to do that. But if you are, you have to give him the ball more than one time. He's got to be able to get in the groove of the game more than one time. Now, once again, maybe Mark Mueller saw something he didn't like. They're also chasing the clock a little bit, but I thought they got away from the running game, even though it wasn't working a little too early. That's just my thought. They only rushed the ball, like I said, 15 yards? 6 times for Roulette, 1 time for Kadeem Carey, Tommy Stevens, 2 in short yardage situations. So it depends how the roster goes. But you got some injuries too. Mario Alford went down early in the game on a punt return on the Calgary sideline. Looked like a lower right leg injury or left leg injury. So who knows what happens there. Carey had to return some kicks. And then he had McCray really excel in the preseason or training camp, so maybe he draws in the receiver, number 86. Maybe he draws in as a returner. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. They are going to have a quick turnaround going against the BC Lions next Saturday. I guess was supposed to be an extra long break for them. After coming out of the bye, they'd get an 8 days between games. Now it's just the regular 7 days between games because of this delay. So, I don't know. Maybe I would do that, Rob. But you got to use him too. Got to use him. 1,000-yard rusher, 1 carry. He's itching. He didn't play against his one former team, Toronto. He's against his other team, Calgary, and he didn't use him. I would have loved to see them use him a little more. All right, and the drive of the game. I was trying to piece together, was there a really great Rider drive? Nothing that really jumped off the map at me. I guess I would say it was the deep pass to Robustelli down the left sideline. Kind of an answer back drive after Calgary scored some points and Trevor Harris drove him down, and then Calgary would score again. So I'll go with that as my drive of the game for Ward Tire Crafts. Do we have another one there? Rob says he agrees with me. Riders abandoned the run too early, even though they were chasing the game. In the CFL, though, like if it's mid-third quarter, you're not really chasing the game. Anything can happen, as we saw at the Riders walk-off win. But sometimes these guys get kind of pigeonholed into what they're going to do, and we got to throw the ball. Recipe for success for the Riders is about 130 yards on the ground. Trevor Harris, 250 yards passing. I don't want a 39-year-old quarterback throwing the ball 44 times. That's not a recipe for success. What else did I have here on the board here? Oh, yeah, we got to talk about a couple of the Rider issues, though. Riders secondary has been torched all season. Yes, they've made some plays, a pick six by Tavon Campbell, and they've closed a couple of games out in this winning streak that they had going into this game, but they have given up some big yards. Now, sometimes yards can be a little deceiving as long as they, from the 20 to the 20, Richie Hall's defenses used to tighten them up. Gary Etcheberry comes from that same coaching philosophy. They used to tighten up. And so I don't get overly concerned at times, but there are guys wide open. Philpott's open. This, Damian Alford, that touchdown down the right sidelines, my gosh, he could have had one of the snacks somebody brought in. Could have got a bag of Ritz crackers that a fan had on the sidelines, had one of their juice boxes they brought in for free, waited for a couple of minutes, drank and ate all that, and then ran to the end zone for a touchdown. That was one of them. There were guys wide open over the middle. And I was actually, for the first time since he joined the Riders, I was disappointed in Jameer Thurman. He was kind of slow, kind of looking lackadaisical out there. Saw Jameer Thurman run by him. Vernon Adams did a great job holding Junior Thurman, the linebacker, in place till Philpott, could cross his face, hit him with a nice pass. Same with Dominic Rhymes, and he was slow running in a lot of cases to make the tackle. So, yeah, they need to tighten their defensive coverage. They were better with penalties. I like how A.J. Allen is performing. Here's a guy that cut his teeth on special teams a bunch of times over the years. And now he's getting a crack on defense with some of the injuries. Then, of course, Eau Claire going to BC in the offseason. So I really like what I'm seeing there from our friend A.J. Allen, who's one of the good dudes for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Speaking of linebackers, man, how about Derek Moncrief? Still a local guy, married one of the daughters from Suds Car Wash. By the way, they want a sponsor. It's great to come on board here. We need all the sponsors to keep Three Down Talk going. Don't make a lot of money doing this. In fact, don't make any money doing this. I'm doing it as a labor of love. So if you want to sponsor, you want to help out, no doubt about it, we'll take it just to keep it going, because that's what the three down game at all levels needs. This is what we are, three down defender here, Ballsy and crew. Anyway, Derek Moncrief, absolute stud. He was great with the Riders. Had some injury problems with the shoulder. They decided to move on. Goes to Edmonton to try to help Chris Jones out there. Didn't really work out for one reason or another. And they bring in a new regime, and he's gone to Calgary in the offseason. And, man, he is really stepping up and having a great season right now. Pick six last week. He was part of that sideline melee where Mitch Picton going down and the ball pops out. Derek Moncrief scoops it up just before it goes out of bounds. He had to feel great back home. That's another thing, man. Guy lives away from his young family, wife, and kids, and he's in Calgary, and it's got to be just outstanding for them to see Dad play. And I'm happy they played for a guy like that. For a guy like Sombach, who finally comes to Regina as a pro player, makes a special teams tackle, and you're thinking, will I get to play here because of this cancellation? Thank God, because in the rules, it was going to be a mini game. It could have been a mini game in Calgary on August the 23rd. They would have started with the mini game, 2 possessions each from the 55-yard line, and that would have been the game. That would have been Mickey Mouse. So thank God they didn't do that. And thank God guys like Deshaun Mims and Jackson Sombach, Jackson Ford too, and Derek Moncrief got to play in front of friends and family here. But Crief is looking great, and I love redemption stories. So good on him. All right, we're going to step back for another break and get to, I believe it's Waldoo's Warriors now, if I'm not mistaken. At JLB Electric, their mission is to provide top-quality residential and commercial electrical services in Regina and surrounding area. They're committed to delivering efficient, reliable, and affordable electrical solutions, including new construction wiring, renovations, service upgrades, and 24-hour emergency assistance. Their team of licensed electricians ensures exceptional service from start to finish. They prioritize safety, customer satisfaction, and expert workmanship. As Regina's trusted one-stop shop for electrical contracting, they are dedicated to powering our community with excellence. Thanks to Chris and the gang at JLB Electric in Regina, and they're expanding to Okotoks because his kid's playing ball there. So thanks to them for getting on board. They're sponsoring the lit play of the game and taking cuts with Caleb Joseph on the regular Ballsy Uncut podcast. Okay, so by the way, yes, Ty, I did see the Ouellette hitting the flats as Adrian Green bounced off him. That was our takeout of the game for Italian Star Deli. But yes, that was hellacious play, and that's why they continue to pay Ouellette. That's a running back like he and Carey and Mills that can break a team's back on defense. When you think you got him stopped and you don't, and he wiggles away or powers away for 3 or 4 more yards, or you hit him and he falls forward for 2 more, and then you bring the short yardage guy Tommy Stevens in, and before you know it, it's a first down. So the lit play of the game for JLB Electric was the second interception for Vernon Adams Jr. Now, I'm not going to fault the guys on TV for not calling the name right. They thought Shane Ray batted the pass down, and you couldn't really get mad at Glenn Suter because Ray was making all the plays. But it was 49, not 5. Lake Corte Moore comes around the edge. Former UBC Thunderbird gets his hand up. It deflects into the hands of C.J. Rivas, who thinks about running it out. But then he gets stripped by Dominic Rhymes, who did a great job as a receiver not giving up on a play. Coaches noticed that. They notice Ray when he hits Mills from behind. Run to the ball. Offense and defense. You got to turn and be a defender. He strips the ball out. It bounces around. Tevin Jones had a chance of getting the touchdown for the Stamps. He can't get it. It goes to the back line, and one of the Stamp receivers bats it out of bounds at the end. And at the start, the broadcast crew didn't really know what was going on. Then they kind of figured it out. And it's the equivalent of the CFL's version of a touchback, even if the offensive player touches it. So here's what happens in the field of play for those that don't know. I think most of the fans watching know, but if it's on the sidelines and the ball's bouncing and it's touched last by a player, whatever team touches it last, they get possession. So if it would have been on the sidelines in the field of play, say at the 1-yard line, and Calgary touched it, they would get the ball right there at the 1-yard line. But because it's in the end zone and Calgary touches it, well, of course, they didn't retain possession in the end zone, so it's not a touchdown. You can't give them a touchdown. You can't give them a make good back at the original line of scrimmage, so you give Saskatchewan the ball at the 30. But that was the lit play of the game, as it lit up. Boom, he's got it. No, he doesn't got it. He's got it. No, he doesn't got it. It's all over the place. Who's got it? Oh, my God, I don't know the rules. What's going on? And it ends up being a Rider football. So that's our lit play of the game for JLB Electric. Okay, we're going to step back one more time for our Waldo's Warriors players of the game. Well, Waldo's Warriors highlights the stars of the game. And speaking of stars, how about Paul Waldo? Played at Dr. Martin Labolas, played for the Junior Thunder football team, U of S Huskies, coaches the U of S Huskies, and won 3 Grey Cups, 2 with the Montreal Alouettes, 1 with your Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's taken that dedication and teamwork mindset to the real estate game with his great team at Royal LePage. Get in the real estate game with Paul Waldo by giving him a call, 306-502-5355. Thanks to Paul Waldo for getting on board, 3-time Grey Cup champ. He cut his teeth special teams-wise and then played some contributing snaps as a corner for a number of years in the league. Was never more than 160 5 pounds. I think he told me a 4.740 in the combine. Late round draft pick of the Als. Wins 2 with them, 1 with your Rough Riders in the real estate game. 306-502-5355 for him. Coaching the U of S Huskies. So, our Waldoo's Warriors. It's gonna be a mixed bag here. My offensive warrior of the game goes to Vernon Adams Jr. For the 6th time. Check that. For the 4th time in his career, is it 6 or 4? I don't know. It's under 10, but I think it's 6 times he has passed for 400 yards. 4 times 400 yards in his career. This time, 428 yards. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One was the aforementioned deflection in the end zone. The other one wasn't a good throw, as he was kind of trying to throw it over a layer of defenders. Great drop by A.J. Allen into coverage. Great leaping catch. So that's our offensive Waldoo's Warrior. I'll give the honorable mention to Joe Robustelli with his first touchdown and 191 yards receiving for the Rough Riders. On defense, I could go with a bunch of people. I'm going to go with Jalen Hutchins. You're wondering to yourself, why did Calgary let go of Mike Rose, who I think is the best D tackle in the last since 2021, when we came back from COVID. Mike Rose edges out his Rider teammate Micah Johnson, who had a leg injury in this game, as the best defensive tackle in the CFL. So you're wondering, why would they let Mike Rose go? But hey, you get cheaper, get a little bit more athletic. This guy was winning all his one-on-one battles, 2 quarterback sacks, part of wreaking havoc in the interior of that D-line with Miles Brown cordoning off the run for A.J. Ouellette, and the odd time anybody else carried it, or the one time Kadeem carried it, but really pushed the pocket. And that is key in the interior when the quarterback can't scramble. If you can make Trevor Harris and those statuesque quarterbacks like Bo Levi Mitchell, like McLeod Bethel Thompson, push them off their spot, he did a great job. He gets my Waldoo's Warriors defensive player of the game. Honorable mentions to Derek Moncrief, and A.J. Allen, who had a pretty good game with your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. That's what I would say. Looking at the stats, I'm going to look at the stats here quickly. I've got them right here handy. Give the CFL some credit. They've got the stats up, and it looks like fairly correct. That was always an issue last year, so I'm going to give them some kudos here. Also, kudos to TSN for their production of Friday Night Football, even though we didn't get to really see it. By the way, Ottawa leads 7-1, 11:03 to go in the second quarter. In terms of defensive stats, though, let's look at the game tracker here. So for the Calgary Stampeders, we had on defense 3 defensive tackles and 1 sack for Hutchins. Clarence Hicks had 2 defensive tackles and 2 sacks, so maybe I should have given him that. I really noticed Hutchins, though. Okay, I'll amend that. I'll go to Clarence Hicks. 2 defensive tackles, 2 quarterback sacks for Hicks. So I'll go with him. Honorable mention to Hutchins, Kreef, and A.J. Allen of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who on defense had 4 tackles and an INT. C.J. Rivas had 6 tackles. Jameer Thurman, 7 tackles, but I didn't really think they were impactful tackles. And on special teams, wasn't an overly spectacular special teams day. Calgary's punt returner, Horton, had trouble catching the ball. We didn't see Paredes did we see him for a field goal? Short one. Calgary's punter was okay. Riders might have to look at Joe Couch. I'm not a big backer of Joe Couch. I know they signed that James Evans, who can really boom the ball. Couch has maybe a few more kicks in his bag if they do anything. I'll just give it to Jackson Sombach. Miller Marauder, Regina Ram. Had a tough decision last year as a Regina Ram. They wanted him to come to Calgary and stick around for a practice roster spot. And he's like, no, I think we got a good chance with the Rams here. I want to go play there. And that could be dicey. Football teams, pro teams don't necessarily look too kindly to that. And they brought him back. He earned a spot. He comes to Regina as a pro and makes a solid special teams tackle for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, or for the Calgary Stampeders against the Riders. So he's my special teams warrior, Waldo's warrior. I do want to talk about special teams now. Brett Lothar is my friend. I like Brett Lothar. I have all the time in the world for him. Brett Lothar's been a great football player for the Riders, and he's been a great community guy off the field. He will sign all the autographs, do all the phone interviews. He's been the spearhead for that Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation charity hockey game in Saskatoon every February. So I like that guy, okay? But he's really struggling. From 50 yards plus in his career, he's 21 of 40, as he missed one today. 0 of 3 this year. Now, 50 isn't a gimme, but 50 is something that if you're going to be an elite kicker and your team needs help, you got to make those kicks. He's really been not Brett Lothar like this year. I think hitting on 70% of his field goals. And this is a what have you done for me lately business. I'm not saying get rid of Brett Lothar, but they need to challenge him now. Seriously challenge him. How about the Regina Thunder kicker, Eric Maximuk, who went to the Hamilton Tiger Cats? He's got to be kicking around town. He was let go. They kind of, from what I heard, it wasn't as it was going to seem there in Hamilton. He thought he had a better crack. That's how I'll word it. But that's pro football. So now he's free, I believe. I'd bring him in to seriously challenge Brett Lothar. And how about Boris Beattie, who became French-Jamaican, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, who just became a Canadian citizen. He is a free agent. Yes, he had a hefty price tag last year with the Elks. Yes, he had a bad year for the Elks, but maybe he wants to go on a redemption tour. I know he does at 35. I know he's not done playing. He's handled both duties before. Maybe you can get a 2-for-1 there. Bring him in. What does it hurt to bring Beattie in? What does it hurt to bring in Maximic? I think the Riders need to seriously look at that. We're leaving a lot of points on the board. Now, having said that, I don't know about... You got a chip shot field goal down deep. It's 24-10. There's still like 4 minutes to go in the third. That's a coaching decision I don't get. Why not go for the field goal? Then you're down in the red zone again, and you go for it again. You got the first down on 3rd and 3, but then got sacked and went for a 3rd and goal from the 12 or whatever it was and didn't get in on the pass to Picton underneath. You got tackled. But if you kick 2 field goals, now all of a sudden it's 24-16. You're a touchdown and 2-point conversion away from tying the ball game. So those are a couple of coaching decisions, at least one for sure, that I found very interesting. Yes, that's going to do it for our show. I got this from Dirty Deuce, he calls himself. Are you at Mosaic or is that a backdrop? No, that is a backdrop. We changed the backdrop whatever game the Riders are playing, like what stadium they're playing in. So next week, it'll be a BC Lions backdrop. I was solo this week because Kyrie Zaber is selling he's selling homes in Oklahoma and doing very well. So with regards to that, I couldn't get him on. Ryan Hall had his aunt's funeral, 89-year-old who passed away. My condolences to Ryan Hall. He couldn't be here, but he's watching the show. And then the other thing is I asked John Ryan, but he's at a friend's 50th birthday party. Oh, to be 50 again. So you got me. Hopefully that's okay. If you miss this live, you can go back in podcast form. Follow us on X, Facebook, and YouTube. You can watch for clips on our social page, all at Ballsy Uncut. And next week, it's the Riders and the BC Lions. By the way, speaking of that, this guy has had his hands in the Riders, the Lions, Ottawa, Winnipeg, and Hamilton. He is Craig Smith. He's been on this show. He's a friend of mine, scout, friend of a lot of people's in the CFL. He's been battling health problems for a while, and he is in hospital. And I just had a friend, Pete, pass away, and I'm not saying Craig is there yet, but he is in hospital, and he could use your prayers. So, Craig, best of luck. I've reached out to him. He hasn't got back to me, which kind of concerns me. So if you have a prayer, say an extra one for Craig. I'd like to thank Nicole and Dean Gerhardt Studios for their fine work, and my buddy Leander, who behind the scenes, best producer in the business. I'm Ballsy. This has been the Our Balls Are Bigger post-game show. Hey, can you do me a favor, Leander? I don't care if you run through here before we go. Can you go grab me that shirt over there? Give me a second. Leander's going to go grab me a shirt. Just walk through. Who gives a shit? Leander's going to walk around. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, give me that shirt. I want to promote this. So I do have another run on shirts, and if you ordered a shirt, you will be getting it shortly. We're raising money for Glenn Love, the Glenn Love Life ALS Foundation. It's a linebacker with the Riders, Al Stampeders. He played for 5 teams. Those are the 3 I remember off the top of my head. He won a Grey Cup with Calgary in 2014. He has ALS, and he's trying to, there's a lot of expenses in the United States when it comes to Medicare. I don't know how that changes with the big, beautiful bill from Donald Trump. So I'm not sure how that changes for him, but I know it's not cheap regardless if it's changed or not. So we're trying to raise money for him, and he wants it raised for his foundation. So he said when I'm long gone, and hopefully that's not for a while, but when I'm long gone, it can help somebody else or help his family out. $25 for his shirt, okay? $25. Can you see it there? I got medium, large. I'm ordering some extra large, good handful of double extra large, and a handful of triple extra large. If you'd like a shirt, DM me, Ballsy Uncut on X, Facebook, and Instagram, or Michael Ball on Facebook, or The Real Ballsy on X and Instagram. Or you can always text me, 306-526-7979. You give me the details, what kind of shirt you want, how many you want, your mailing address, or do you live in town? I'll drive them right to your door once I've got the stock replenished. And if you've ordered shirts, they'll be going out probably tomorrow. I'll get them out, if not early next week. Just got to dot all my I's and cross all my T's. I got a few balls in the air. A few R balls are bigger in the air right now, okay? So yeah, you want a shirt, $25, proceeds going to that. And taking something tragic and terrible and trying to turn it into a good situation for a guy that gave his body for us to enjoy the sport we love. Once again, the final score, the Saskatchewan Roughriders fall to the Calgary Stampeders, 24-10. Thank you for checking it out. Tell all your friends this is the best form of promotion, and this is how we continue to grow the game we love. I do it right from the small guys all the way to the top guys. And we call it like we see it around here, whether you like us or me or not. Talk to you soon. Thanks for catching the show. A reminder, the best form of promotion is word of mouth. So please tell everybody you know about this show. As we grow this show, we in turn help to grow the game we love, the 3-down game. Catch you next time.